What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and welcome to my video guide for Porom's Lost Chapter. And of course this is going to be on the Chaos fight, and before we begin, like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help my channel guys, and I really do appreciate all the support that you guys give me. Now without further ado, let's start this video. Okay guys, as always, we'll start this off with the abilities, weaknesses, resistances, and the elements that the boss can absorb. And this time it's the Hallowwriter, which we have fought previously, of course. This boss does have one weakness, and that is to the ice element, and does not have any resistances nor and elements it can absorb. And as for its abilities, it has its brave attack, which is a melee brave attack, hard lance, which is a melee HP attack, group death, which is a group magic brave attack, which also has a low chance of inflicting break. Next up is drain, which basically increases brave when its brave is less than its initial brave, and will do a magic HP attack and basically restores a little bit of its HP. Next up is solid break, which is a group melee brave attack, which also inflicts a max HP down debuff. Clinging nightmare, which charges its own brave and will do a group magic HP attack, which also will restore its party's HP and will grant itself an enfeeblement up buff. Next up is Sting Heart, which is a melee brave attack, which again can also inflict a max HP down debuff. Next up is Share Burst, which basically increases brave when its brave is less than its initial brave, and will absorb the ally's brave and will do a group magic brave attack. Next up is Absolute Pain, which basically recovers itself from its break status and will do a magic brave attack plus HP attack. Next up, the Will of Destruction, which is a guaranteed hit, and this will also inflict an max HP down debuff on all enemies and will increase its brave afterwards. Finally, a couple of texts that you will be seeing: Rule of Ruin, which raises all its stats and will grant itself immunity to all enfeeblements, which basically all debuffs. This also has a plus variant and a plus variant, which basically just keeps increasing its stats. Now, these bosses do have a low resistance to the confused debuff, and has immunity to the max brave down and max HP down debuff in the beginning of the fight. Okay guys, now let's move on to the general tips and guide, and the first one is going to be to save about 70 to 80% of your abilities for the final wave. Now this is only a two-wave fight, however you are not going to be fighting not one, not two, but three of these Hallowwriters, and they all have quite a ton of HP, so saving a lot of your abilities for the final wave is highly recommended. Now of course the next one is going to be to bring in your boosted characters. In this case it's going to be Porom, Yang, or Palom. Now I gotta say, Palom is probably not the best choice to bring, even though he is boosted, seeing as he doesn't have access to the realize of his EX weapon just yet, at least at this point in time. So highly suggest either Porom or Yang, and of course other characters that I will recommend are Galuf, Kryl, Lightning, Shadow, Edge, Yuri, Tifa, Beatrix, Vayne, Paladin, Cecil, Zack, Bartz, Ash, Steiner, Arnea, Sephiroth, Golbez, Emperor, and of course Jet. Now as for the healers plus brave battery options, you got Selphie, Ram, Eiko, Ignis, Rosa, Penelo, Hope, and of course Ishtola. And for your summon, you can bring any summon because the boss doesn't have any resistances, but highly recommend Shiva because I'm biased that way, and of course because the boss is weak to ice. Okay guys, now let's go over some general strategies that I use that help me beat this fight, and hopefully will help you out as well. The first one is of course for your friend support. It's going to be highly suggested to be Arnea. The reason why I don't have Setzer here is because of the boss's immunity to all debuffs. So Arnea is probably the best choice, seeing as she does have like 100% splash damage with her EX, and of course a lot of splash damage that she can bring as well. Even though she can't apply the Vile Crusher debuff, she still does quite a bit of damage. Next up is delay is going to be your only best friend here. Unfortunately, you are not able to paralyze these bosses after they use their Rule of Ruin. So, I mean, you can use it at the start, but delay is going to be the most consistent thing that you can do in order for you to take advantage of the bosses not, you know, doing a lot of HP damage. And trust me, they do a lot of HP damage. A lot of their abilities, as you guys might have seen if you are watching the entirety of this video, they do have a lot of arsenal that has brave plus HP damage, or increase brave then do HP damage. Now the next one here is to bring in a lot of splash damage if you can, or to a small extent at least. This will help you with the turn count. Of course, if you have a lot of splash damage dealing characters, highly suggest you actually use them on this one. The bosses do have a ton of HP, as I mentioned, and have just doing a little bit like 50% splash damage is going to be a big factor on this one. The turn count is not very nice as well, seeing that I do believe it's 95 turns, so as much damage as you can is definitely highly recommended. Next up, of course, is to bring a healer. You're gonna need a healer for this one. You can heal through a lot of the AoE HP damage or a single target HP damage. I highly recommend bringing a healer. Now, of course, the final one, as you might have guessed, is bring a tank. Now, this is only for a safer run, and I would highly suggest Edge, Warrior of Light, Galuf, or Bosch for this one. Seeing as there's a lot of AoE damage that you're going to be taking, I mean, Zac is still okay, but I would highly suggest, you know, Bosch and Edge, and of course Warrior of Light. Galuf is nice because he can counter, but unfortunately he can't save you from all those HP damage as well, but he does counter, so that kind of makes up for that lack of I guess protection. Okay guys, now let's move on to the possible party compositions. The first one is going to be your boosted team with Aranea. Like I said earlier, Palom unfortunately I don't think is pretty good at this point. So Porom, Yang, Aranea with an Aranea support and Shiva for the summon, Porom for heals, and of course overhealing is something that she does and really great as well. Yang and Aranea for big splash damage, and of course Aranea can delay as well, which is really nice. Next up is the team that you guys are seeing on this video, which consists of Edge, Lightning, and Hope with an Aranea support and Shiva for the summon, Edge for the party dodge, Lightning for damage and delays, and Hope is there for the buffs and small heals, and of course his AoE's damage is very nice, even though it's a little bit with his HP attack plus, but at least his AoE is 100% HP damage to all targets. Now the next team here, it consists of Galuf, Cecil, Paladin Cecil I should say, and Yuri with an Aranea support and Shiva for the summon. Galuf is here obviously for cover tanking. Paladin Cecil can heal, he does decent amount of AoE damage as well, and the same thing can be said for Yuri. He's a great support once you are able to use his EX ability, a lot of Brave regen and of course HP regen alongside with that as well. Now for the final team, of course it's going to be the delay team. Vayne, Aranea, and Y'shtola with Aranea support and Shiva's first summon. Again, a lot of characters are interchangeable here. You can probably take off Y'shtola now and add General Leo, since he has a little bit of HP regen attached to him. And he's a good Brave battery, a decent one, so you actually can replace Y'shtola now if you really want to. Y'shtola is more of there if something really went wrong, at least you can revive. Okay guys, so we're finally at the end of this video, and of course I'll give you guys my final thoughts on this fight. In all honesty, this fight is a pretty long fight. 3 bosses, lots of HP, a lot of HP attacks. It's a little bit dicey, but I wouldn't say it's overly difficult. I would probably say it's almost the same difficulty as Caius's Chaos difficulty fight, but I gotta say with this one, it's a little bit annoying that they are actually immune to debuffs. And that's a big thing. A lot of the characters now do have some sort of debuffs attached to them to make use of their full potential, i.e. Arnea. So, you know, it just limits down your character usage, and I think that's the biggest thing for this one. You can't use most of the characters that, like, obviously all the debuffers, and to a certain extent you can't fully like use a character to their full potential when it comes to things like maybe Steiner. He has like a debuff as well. Of course, the attack down debuff for Steiner is actually pretty nice attachment to him, and if you can't actually apply that, it just limits them down a little bit. Not to the point they're useless, but you know, it's nice to actually have that. So I gotta say, this is in the middle of a road for me. So medium difficulty overall compared to all the chaos difficulty. I gotta say that it can be pretty dicey, especially when there's a lot of all attacks happening, and you know, you're just soaking up a lot of those HP damage. One thing is, you know, try not to get broken when it comes to that. And if you have, again, a tank, it's just gonna make this run a lot safer. Having like edged, you know, party dodge basically, so you can avoid all those HP damage, is definitely gonna help out. Now, I think I'll end the video right here, guys. Please do remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help my channel, and of course helps with the YouTube algorithm as well. And if you hit that bell button, you probably won't miss a video coming out, at least from my channel anyway. And of course, follow me on Twitter and on Facebook at Munchkins Gaming. Leave down in the comments below which team you use for this particular fight. This is Munchkins logging off. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next level.